Hey guys,
Welcome
to
to
Broadway
Broadway
Before
Before
Bedtime.
Bedtime.
I'm Yair.
And I'm Remy.
We met last year doing Drag the Musical together off Broadway, and ever since then, we've basically been nonstop talking about performing, auditions, and everything that comes with being young actors.
So we thought, why not turn those conversations into a podcast? Each episode, we sit down with artists we genuinely admire and talk about how they got started, what they've learned, and what this whole industry is actually like.
And today we are so excited because we're sitting down with somebody whose journey feels so intentional, so grounded, and also so insanely impressive.
From training at Carnegie Mellon to going straight into a major national tour with Back to the Future, and then stepping into the world of Heathers, covering multiple roles and navigating that kind of responsibility, she's built such a dynamic start to her career.
So we're really excited to get all into it. Please welcome Kiara Lee. Broadway Before Bedtime.
With Yair and Remy.
Yay, hi guys.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you guys?
We're
Good.
Great. We're so happy you're here.
Yeah, me
You're very happy.
too.
I think we'll just start from the very beginning. So
Okay.
Let's go.
go.
So, before any of this was professional, what first made you fall in love with performing, and what did that look like for you growing up?
Okay, so I was obsessed with Disney Channel growing up. Like, I don't know if they still do it anymore, but whenever someone would be like, "Hi," like for example, "Hi, I'm Selena Gomez," like, and you're
You're
watching
watching
Wizards of
Disney
Waverly Place,
Channel.
they would do yes, like that was what made me like want to be an actress. So I feel like first I wanted to be on Disney Channel, then I discovered musical theater kind of on
Right.
YouTube around like Sutton Foster first being in Thoroughly Modern Millie. Like there was like a bootleg of her performing Gimme Gimme, and I would watch that over and over again. And I feel like that's what made me start wanting to get into musical theater and first sparked my passion for it. Yeah.
Mm.
So basically, that I want to hear. So that do you feel like that was your first moment that you either you saw a show, which was Sutton Foster and Thoroughly Modern Millie? What was that like? Really, that moment where you thought, "Wow, I think I want to do this seriously."
Yeah, I feel like it was just the culmination of watching videos on YouTube and then feeling like I wanted to do it too because I grew up in dance. That was the thing. My parents started me just in dance. But I didn't even know that musical theater was a true art form. So I feel like literally Sutton Foster is still my favorite performer to this day. Like I am just obsessed with her. I respect her. I admire her. I want to be in a show with her someday. But I just feel like she's such a triple threat. And that's another thing that really like, made it cool for me. It was like someone who's such a fierce dancer, also has an amazing powerhouse voice while also being such an amazing actress. So that's kind of where my passion
Mm.
started.
And then I was going to ask, what did your early training look like before college? But I guess you said it was dancing. Did your family like play into that? Obviously, they got you dance lessons. Were they supportive, or did they shape your path into theater in any way? Because sometimes people have parents who are like music surrounded.
Yeah, well, my mom, she used to do just regional theater. Like she was Grisabella and Cats. That was a big role for her. She played
Work.
that for like, I think they had like a 3 month run. It was pretty crazy. But she was very into the arts in college and stuff. So I feel like
Mm.
I get a lot of my talent and my passion from my mom. But also I just feel like my family is so like dreaming centered. Like we all are such dreamers. And I feel like my parents really encouraged me and my siblings to just go for whatever we wanted and to think that the sky is the limit. So I'm very lucky to have super supportive parents that have always inspired me to dream and keep going.
Yeah, having supportive parents who are like there for you no matter what is such a gift and such a blessing. And me and Remy are also so lucky to have amazing parents who are always there for us and just there for our dreams. So yeah.
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 So let's talk about your college. You went to Carnegie Mellon. You got into Carnegie Mellon. It's so intense and a selective program. What made you choose that school?
Well, funny audition story. I auditioned for a lot of schools, but Carnegie Mellon actually was the one that I was just auditioning for fun because it was two Shakespeare monologues, which I had never even like done any Shakespeare at all. Like I had just found a monologue literally on Google, like had no idea what I was doing. And the night before my Carnegie audition, I literally told my mom, I was like, you know what, like I'm just gonna say I'm sick. Like I don't want to embarrass myself. Like I just know that I'm
Mm.
gonna flop, so I'm just not gonna go to my audition. My mom was like, no, just go. It doesn't matter. And funny enough, when I was having this conversation with her, it was in the elevator of Chicago Unifieds, and Gary Klein, the head of Carnegie Mellon, was in the elevator with us and was hearing me be like, I'm just gonna skip because like I know I'm gonna flop. Like, and my mom was like, no, you should still go. And I was just like this nice old man just like in the elevator with me, just kind of like smiling and listening to my story. So then like an hour later, my mom convinced me to audition. But even yeah, even the audition process was so intense. And that's the thing, like I just wanted to audition for Carnegie kind of just as like a bucket list moment because it is such like a serious and intense school. But then when I got in, I was like, it's so meant to be. And I could just tell it was like God and the universe like telling me that I could
Mm.
do it. And like I'm just so glad I went. Yeah, I just feel like Carnegie Mellon's such a special school. And it is the most like intense yet unserious, hilarious, amazing, fun, 4 years that I've like ever had in my life. So I'm so glad
Mm.
that I decided to go.
Yay. Wait, that's so
Mm.
funny. Oh my God.
So you went to Carnegie Mellon, and I assume you felt most confident in dance. Um,
Yes.
were you hoping to be a triple threat by the end of it, which you are now?
Yes, well, I felt like that's what I really liked about Carnegie and what drew me to auditioning in the first place was that everything is acting focused. Like it's yes,
Mm.
you're having voice lessons, but it's all, acting through the song, acting through dance, and like it's
Mm.
so acting centered. Everything is about truly just telling the story. And that was like when I went into college, I used to, rank like how people will be like dancer first, singer second, or whatever. And I definitely was like, acting is not my strong suit. So I feel like Carnegie Mellon really like helped me hone in my acting and then just like now be like a true triple threat. But beyond anything, like I just feel like now I'm so much more like geared towards like acting through a song, acting through dance, which is just I feel like so important and has helped me so much in
Very.
auditions. Yeah.
Mm.
So, how did like the reality of that program like challenge you in ways you didn't expect? It could be personally or creatively.
Yeah, I mean, Carnegie Mellon is very like when you first get there, it's beat you down to build you back up. And like the, beating down part definitely like took a toll on me. And
Mm.
I don't know, I was very like I didn't think that I was cut out for it. And I feel like everyone I realized maybe like a couple years later as like a junior and a senior that like all my entire class as freshmen and sophomores felt the same way as me. But I feel like I wasn't sure if I was cut out for it, but I'm so glad that I stayed because I just feel like now I can handle anything. Like now any critiques I get professionally, like any hard auditions I go through or anything, like I feel like Carnegie Mellon is really good at teaching their students like to navigate through anything. Like you'll meet some of like the rudest, craziest, wildest like directors and people,
Right.
but they really teach you how to like navigate through that and like they've really made me like mentally stronger and like able to push through moments like that. So I definitely struggled through some of the program, but I'm like I came out a better, stronger performer.
Right.
Yeah.
Work.
Yeah.
Um, were there any specific classes or teachers or even moments in the studio that really shifted how you approach acting or singing now or dancing?
That's such a good question. I would say sophomore year, everyone, all acting and musical theater majors take a class called clown class. And so it's kind of like the art of clowning, which I didn't even know was an art form. But it was so formative for me because basically you create this alter ego of yourself that's a clown, but it's everything that's like that you feel is embarrassing or socially unacceptable. So like everything that you feel insecure about yourself and like how you operate through life is your clown. So it was like basically like we got so comfortable with the parts of ourselves that felt embarrassing or that we felt shame towards. And also like through that we found so much comedy in it. And I feel like now I've really discovered I never thought of myself as like a funny performer or a comedic performer, but it really helped me shape how I approach acting in general and like just to be able to laugh at myself, to be able to be comfortable with the parts of myself that I wasn't as confident with. So I feel like now through clown class, that was like probably my favorite course I took at Carnegie Mellon. I'm really able to like tap into comedic material so much easier now just because I'm like more comfortable
Mm.
laughing at myself, laughing at others and just like having a good time through creating, if that makes sense.
And by the way, I saw you as Bob Duke Heather Duke with the
Yes.
bob.
Oh yeah. Oh, when
Um,
I had my bob.
with the bob.
Was that a
One of
thing?
the limited series, yeah.
Oh my god. Wow.
But you were so funny. Like, I mean, if you
Thank
had
you.
any doubt, I think Heather's might have pushed you because you were amazing. But
Thank you. So
In
sweet.
in my first ever musical ever, I played Chad in High School Musical Junior, and there was this like one scene that like Miss Darbus like makes all of like the students like pretend to be animals for like a whole like 5 minute scene, and that just reminded me of that part, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's wild. We had a course like that too. It was called what was it? Animal something. Animal Project. Animal Project. And it was our whole freshman year where like we had to pretend to be animals, but like it is ridiculous. It's like it's real, I guess. Yeah.
Totally.
mm.
So was there ever like a moment for you during college where like it all kind of like clicked for you, like everything kind of started to like make sense, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I mean, I found myself contrary to that feeling like am I improving at all? Do sometimes I would feel like I was worse than like before I came to Carnegie or things like that. But like I feel like I would have little like nuggets of like, okay, like I can hit a note. Like I would have some voice lessons where I would like, hit a note with so much more ease than I did before. Like I just more than like a certain moment where things clicked, I felt like I found little nuggets of like, oh, I'm getting better, I'm improving more. So I feel like those were kind of all throughout. But I will say, my senior year, I did a three-person play that was 2 hours long. And in the first hour and a half, I killed off the other two people in the play. And then the last 30 minutes was like a one-woman show where I just was like, it was like page after page after page after
Oh my
monologue after monologue
god.
after monologue, and it was just insane. And I would have never been able to do that when I first came. So it was like that was a big moment for me where I was like, first of all, I would have never wanted to do a play. I was always like, I'm a musical girl. I don't do plays, And then also I could have never seen myself being able to like captivate a full like 300, 400 person audience just by myself and feeling comfortable. So I feel like, yeah, that was like a big piece where I was like, oh, like things are clicking. Like that was a big moment for me.
Wow.
Mm,
That's
wow.
Yeah.
crazy.
It was insane.
Um, wow. I never thought I would like plays either. And then I saw. Well, first I saw Stranger Things. That was like kind of my first play, one of my first plays. But then I saw John Proctor, which is like more of like a real play, I guess. Feels like.
Right.
And it was really good. So I
Yeah.
want to see more plays. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see John Proctor so bad. I'm so mad I missed that. But yeah, I like forget how good plays are until I see like, one on
Right.
Broadway or something like that. I'm like, oh, I need to go see more plays. But
Right.
yeah.
And I saw Oedipus the other day or the other
Yeah.
week. Really, really good.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
John Proctor is coming to Atlanta for like a short run. I know. I was freaked out too. I did a show at the theater called the Alliance Theater, and I was just looking at their season, and I was like, John Proctor is the villain. What's that doing there? But yeah.
They're doing like, a lot of cool things at the Alliance, and I'm from Atlanta, so I'm always like checking out what they're doing.
Oh my god.
But yeah, that's a cool theater too, because I know like I saw the prom before it was the prom. I saw Love Never
Ah,
Dies there. Like it's so cool, like when you see it like at its beginning stages and then like see it go to Broadway and everything. But
Totally.
mm,
that's so
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yay.
All right. Well, so um something we don't always talk about. College is really hard. Obviously, we haven't gone through it, but how did you handle the intensity and competitiveness of being in a
Competitiveness.
competitiveness of being in a program like that while still staying grounded in yourself?
Yeah, I do agree. It's something that's so real that no one talks about. Like it can feel like you're losing your identity and just trying to be like I know I looked up so much. I was also like I'm from a class of 8, so legitimately it was me and 4 other women. And even though all of us were so deeply different, it's like I had such a respect and just like I admired those girls so much and also like wanted to be like them. So it was hard to like lose my identity. But I felt like the biggest thing that I would remind myself of is like, we all got into that program on our own merit. And I feel like that's maybe something that can help other college students too, when they feel like they're losing their identity or having like imposter syndrome and feel like they're competing. It's just that like every single person got in for a very specific reason, and I feel like it's just important to remember like what your superpower is and like what makes you stand out. So I feel like it was just like reminding myself of that, like, no one can sing that song like I can, but also like it's great to see someone else sing that song and know that like I can't sing it like they can too. Like it's like you can find power in like individuality, and that can sort of like strip down the competitiveness and like, just like it's a good reminder. But it still is hard. Like I really don't have the perfect answer, but I will say also like when you graduate and get into the real world, that can also help too. Like, but I know when you're in it, it can be really hard. So
yeah. So talking about, graduating and getting
the
into
real
that
world.
real world.
Yeah.
So when you were still in training, how did you like navigate the professional auditioning world? Because that jump can feel so overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I think I was very lucky that when a lot of auditions were happening, I knew I wanted to work during the summer. I wanted to do like the summer stock experience and like take my summers off, hopefully performing and trying to book jobs. But during that time, it was also like COVID. So luckily, I didn't have to go in person. A lot of them were virtual, which was like more accessible, I feel like, for college students. So the way I kind of got into the real world and first like working for places like the Muni and like Pittsburgh CLO when I was in college was by them having all of their auditions online. I can't really talk much for like in-person stuff, but I know like it was still I feel like a lot of times now because of COVID they're doing first rounds virtually. So I feel like I honestly would look on sites like Playbill and like, Broadway.com for auditions. And then also if anyone's union, like Actors Equity, you can always look and find auditions on there. But that's the biggest way I was able to like get my foot into the professional world, is just through them having so many online auditions. But I feel like it was also like a very specific like, you know 2021 2022 time where like things were still virtual due to COVID. So I don't have the perfect answer, but I feel like what I used a lot was like playbill.com and Broadway World, and then also Actors Equity. But like those were how I found auditions, and then yeah, that's pretty much it.
I was gonna say, obviously, COVID was like very horrific. However, I find it very interesting to see how it benefited some people in their careers. And because like
Yeah.
for me, I was like maybe 8 or 9, but I did so many auditions and callbacks, and as someone who doesn't live in the city, it was a lot easier. But then I know that for other people who live in the city, they don't prefer that. And for you or people in college, it might have been easier. So I just find that very interesting. That
Yeah, it was such an interesting time, and I'm glad like some of it, like I love the fact that a lot of like first rounds are online because it is more accessible for everybody. And then it's like, if you're going into an audition room, it's like after a few callbacks, like, virtually and stuff. So yeah, it is really like an interesting point. And like a lot of people ask me like, how did you like get into the Muni and college and like the CLO and all that? And I'm like, literally because everything was online. So like I didn't have to go in. Like, and that was literally like they cast me like fully in a role based off of like just everything virtually. Like they never even saw me in person. So it was very interesting.
Yeah. We also talked about this on our last episode with Jamie Martin. We talked about how just sending in self tapes and then being in that room, it's such a different feel and vibe. And like for me, like if I get into the room in person, you're like, you have your one or two chances, you go in, you do that, and whatever it is. But for self tapes, you can be like so picky with yourself, and like you do it over and over and over and over and over again. So it's so different.
Right.
And I'm not actually sure if. So
no,
sorry.
go ahead. Yeah.
I'm not sure if like I mean, I think that's like a very big topic. Like, is self-taping or in person better or just different? But I don't know if like I think being so picky is also its own thing, and like being able to rewatch a tape versus just like doing it. I also think that there's something about like adrenaline in person that
Yeah.
like you just sound better because you know you have one chance. But yeah.
No, I agree. There's so many pros and cons to both. Because like I used to be like angry, especially with COVID. Like I was an in-person type of girl, and like you can only like really like I feel like my energy shows best when I'm in person. And then like when I would like audition for some stuff virtually, I was like, ugh, like I just feel like my true like aura and energy and vibe as a performer isn't reading like on these self-tapes. But then I would, yeah, like do self-tapes and I would take 45 takes. And I'm like, why am I, there's just so many pros and cons to both. But I say that I love like the first like self tape round, but I literally will take like 3 hours on a tape. And I agree with what you were saying, Remy, where it's like something clicks in when you're in that big echoey room and like you got that adrenaline. Like there's just like I don't know. Sometimes it really works, and so I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know which one I like better, but
Fans, what do you think?
yeah, let us know.
Let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Back to the Future. What was that? What was that audition process like?
That one was crazy because I was still in college, so they were having to like somewhat work around my college schedule, and then I was also having to like literally lie and be like I'm sick, but then like also be in New York City, and I was like missing classes, like I was trying to write my essays on like the plane rides from because luckily I was in Pittsburgh, so that's not crazy far from New York. It's about like an hour flight, and then sometimes I would take the Amtrak, which was like 4 to 5 hours. But anywho, I knew the associate choreographer, Beth Crandall, shout out to her. She literally was like first person to cast me in the Muni and also CLO. And then this, like, and that's the thing too. Like, it's so true what people say with like, it's not all about who you know, but it's like, if you do really well in one show, then like, chances are if they're casting something else, like you've proven to them that like you are a reliable, strong performer. But anywho,
Totally.
she let me know we're looking for someone to play Jennifer Parker in Back to the Future, the tour. Like, would you want to come in? And I was like, yeah, but I just have school. So I went through, I think it was a lot. It was like, I want to say maybe like 5 or 6 rounds. And near the end, it was just like, I already knew all the material. Like I would dance for them and then I would sing for them, but it was like the same material. So I got to be super comfortable with it. But yeah, it was a bunch of rounds. And I remember right after my final round thinking like, I blew it. I'm not going to get it. And it's funny what they say. I don't know if you guys have seen like the memes where it's like, when you book something, everyone's like, thank you. And then like when you don't book, they're like, oh my God.
Yes.
Like,
oh my God.
Yes, I have a story. Yeah.
I have seen those with like, the Ariana and Cynthia press tour where they're like, you have been the light of the day. We admire you so much. Those videos are so funny.
Yeah.
I had this I think I was like maybe it was like the second round of callbacks or something. And I went in and I did it and I thought I did really, really well. And I had like this like water bottle and like probably got it from like the Broadway flea or something. It like had like all the musicals on it. And I walked out and I remember the casting director was like, Remy, wait, I just wanted to say that I love your water bottle. Blah, blah. I was like, thank you. And then he was like, I can't wait to see your water bottle later or something like that. Did not get another call back. So I just found
No,
that
and
like,
they just be saying that sometimes. Like, it's actually like really wild. I'm like, why are you saying that? Like, I had something like I had a friend who had that happen to them where like literally it was college auditions and somebody was like, we will see you on campus. We are excited for you. Denied.
not
Like, it's
really.
like, what's
Yeah.
going on? Like, why are you saying that? It's actually really frightening. I don't like it, but
Remy, didn't you leave your water bottle at the drag callbacks too? For Drag the Musical? I feel like you did, and Andrew was like...
Probably. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
a
I
good
think
strategy.
so.
Leave your water bottles around the places that you want to
So
book.
that
Maybe you'll book it.
Yeah, they'll have to bring it back to you, so you have to book,
Yeah.
Right.
No, but yeah, anywho, that was like my final Back to the Future. Like I sang my song and they were like, all right, thank you. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, and then at this point, I'm like, I really like banked. Like, I took all my sick days I had from college. I literally was like, it was just like, I don't even know. So I was feeling like a little, about it. And then I didn't hear back. This is another thing that I feel like happens to a lot of people when you don't hear back after like 3, 4 weeks. And I didn't even have agents at this point. So literally I couldn't even hear through my agents or ask them like have they made a decision yet, but once you don't hear after like 3 to 4 weeks you just assume it's over. And so I assumed that, and then I was literally in one of my classes, and someone called me and was like, yeah, do you want to play Jennifer Parker on tour? And I was like, yes. Oh my gosh. And it was great. But yes, lots of rounds, and I felt like I didn't book it, but thank God I did.
No, but
So
by the way, people are always saying like, can you get a job without an agent or a manager? You were in final callbacks for a very large national tour without an agent or representation.
yeah, and I feel like once
That's
again,
proof.
very lucky because of like COVID, and then like obviously getting into regional stuff every summer between like my years at Carnegie. And then also, yeah, I'm just like, that's why I tell everyone like sometimes connections and just like being kind to the people you're working with, and like, being very personable can help you even more than like sometimes the people that your agents will know. And of course those connections are powerful too, but like, yeah, it's a great testament that you definitely don't need an agent to book. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
that's absolutely necessary.
Wait, so who was the first person you told? Was it like your class hearing the call?
Yes, I literally have a video because I came back into class and I was like, guys, I just booked this. And it was so sweet. My class like made like a circle around me and we were all like jumping and being like, yay,
Aww.
which was great. Yeah,
That's
so it
very
was so
sweet.
fun. But yeah, I told my whole class and then I called my mom, and she was freaking out. So
Aw,
yeah.
that's
Okay.
very, very sweet.
So,
Um, okay, more on Back to the Future. So going into rehearsals for a very, very huge technical show like Back to the Future, I saw it on Broadway. I think at the beginning I was sitting like very house left and a lot was like blocked. And then intermission, I don't know if you're supposed to do this, but we moved up because like nobody was there and it was like center. Car
that,
was in fact over me, like right there.
Oh my
Um,
God.
it was really such like a great experience. But yeah, such a huge technical show. What felt the most exciting for you and what felt the most intimidating?
Well, most exciting was the fact that I knew that my role, that like had her own song, had her own prominent role, also was like dancing down in the ensemble. And I just think it was such like a Hannah Montana thing to be like one of the girls like kicking, leaping, laying out. And then everyone in the crowd, I could
And
like hear them whisper sometimes and be like, isn't that the same girl that was just dancing? Like, and so it's like that was the coolest part, was like that does not happen a lot where someone's able to like dance down and also be able to like sing and have their own songs and moments and stuff. So I was most excited for that, but also like to go with that, there was so much dancing and like there was so much to learn, and it was such a technical show, literally just with like set pieces moving around you. You're on a turntable. There's a DeLorean like driving beside you. Like there's just so much going on, and I felt like that being my first like big show was just, yeah, that was the most intimidating part.
and
I didn't know how I'm gonna do this.
also I assume there was a lot of quick changes and like into
Yes.
Laducas and stuff. So I'm sure that was also intimidating.
Yes. I mean, well, I walked in, I literally had 6 wigs and 12 costumes. That's how many costumes I had in Back to the Future. And that's like, I knew that I was cooked when I walked into like my fitting, and it was like a whole rack. And I was like, oh, is this like other girl stuff? And they're like, no, this is all yours. And I was like, what is happening? Like, so yeah, it was wild. But that
lace
was
front?
also another part.
With it.
Yes, I was like putting it on, taking it off. It was wild.
Also, not you going from like 6 wigs to like 0 in Heather's.
I
Not
know, I
one.
know. I literally, I told everyone I feel bald, and like, did you guys wear wigs in drag?
We tried. We were like, please, male
I
lace
want a
front
lace
wig.
front.
And then when I did Millions, I was like, hey, like if you need me to like match, I had a brother in the show who was brunette. I was like, if you want to put on a wig on me, I do not mind at all. And they were like, no, you're good. I was like, okay.
You're like,
But the people
no.
around us were wigged. I mean,
Oh, yes.
everybody
Yeah.
in that show had at least, I'd say 3 wigs, 4 wigs.
Oh my
It
God.
was very crazy.
Yeah, no, I feel bald. I always tell people like your wig is like your final. Like yes, you can do your
Mm,
makeup, but like the wig makes me feel put together. Because obviously
Right.
it's just like a consistent fierce hair look. Like but now I'm just like y'all I've never had to do my hair for a show, truly. So this has been an experience, but it's nice to let my hair breathe, but I do feel like I'm missing that like final I don't know. And it's hard to like, depending on like how humid it is outside or whatever, we're always like our
right.
hair is just looking different every day.
Okay,
But,
Emma Benson wig.
yeah, no, oh my God. When I saw her in that blonde wig, you guys don't understand. Like that blonde wig came out of thin air. So like we were like, oh, she's obviously gonna just wear I thought that she should wear a cute little yellow headband, like
Mm.
when she was playing Mac, because she had that like blonde wig. And so no, like it came out of thin air. Literally like
This
we were
feels
like,
very like
what?
this feels very parasocial because like I don't know her. I follow her though, and like I keep up with like all the Heather stuff. And immediately when that was sent, I was
No, we
gagged.
we were we were like
It
freaking
was
out.
gagging.
He sent it to me
I
and he was
know
like, "Oh my
It was
god."
really good. It was really good because
Oh yeah, it was so
I was
cute.
assuming there would be like maybe a clip or something. It was
We
really
Right.
good.
we had like a whole discussion about this. We were like, "Oh my god, what do you think like for for the Fleming debut and then the Mac debut, we're like, what wig do you think they're going to wear?" So, we these are
Wild.
discussions that we have a lot
This
when
yes,
understudies go on.
No,
this
it
is
is. It's like a thing because it's like Mac doesn't have to be blonde, but like Mac's blonde. Like we all like feel that. So I'm glad they got her a blonde wig. But anywho, yeah, it is wild to go from like no wigs or from all wigs to no wigs. But
right.
Right.
anyhow.
So, what did a typical day on tour actually look like for you, both on show days and travel days?
Well, I mean, it was always different just depending on where I was and like how much energy I had. The nice thing is because we were, first national and it was within its first year, we had like a lot of long stints. So like LA, for example, we were there for 4 weeks, Seattle, 3 weeks. So it was like sometimes when I wouldn't have a travel day, I would take, like our off day to really like explore the cities and like it just depended because Back to the Future was such a physically rigorous show. I would find myself a lot of times just being like, I'm going to rot in bed all day until I have to go do the show.
Mm,
But I would say, like, ideal day when I'm feeling excited, I would probably visit like a local coffee shop in like whatever city we were in, maybe take a Pilates class. We were very big, like, me and the girls in the ensemble were very big on going to like comparing and contrasting all the different like Pilates places like across the country in whatever state or city we were in. So maybe yeah, coffee, Pilates class, and like go back home, maybe nap for an hour, hour and a half, and then obviously do the show. And I feel like it sorry, I have to turn my ringer off. You can just cut that out. But anyways, yeah. Getting ready for the show was like it's so funny because now in Heather's like I'm not doing like a huge warm up physically, but I would have to do full like ready to whack, ready to kick, like full warm up, some strength and stuff, and then, just do the show. But that's basically what a regular day would look like.
Yeah. But so traveling all the time, it's such a like specific lifestyle. How did constantly traveling from city to city affect your performance and your mindset over time? Because I've done 3 productions in the last year and a half, and my amazing mom like flew every other week to come and see me, and like I know like how bad like travel exhaustion can be. So how did you deal with that?
Yeah, such a good question. I feel like it was just trial and error. Like I had no idea what I was getting into. I didn't even know like how traveling would affect me like that. And also I'd never done a show for that long either. So I felt like I kind of got the hang of it a few months in. But yeah, the hardest thing was like not even I would say probably vocally number one, but even physically, like depending where we were, like going from like Denver to LA, like even just like the different altitudes, like the different humidities affected my voice so bad. Like I tell this story, there was a wild time where we were in Eugene, Oregon. It was like just the change into the fall from the summer, and like it was so dry. And I literally like went on stage and throughout the performance, I sang my first song, I was fine. I sang like this other little like moment I had, and then I had a reprise of my first song like at the end, and I literally went to open my mouth and nothing came out. Like it was a literal, I was like, somebody, I needed someone behind the curtain. I would say like London Tipton, and like I don't know if you remember in like High School Musical where she was behind the
Yes.
curtain singing. Like I needed someone like that. I was like, somebody get me
Like in
it was,
Singing in the Rain.
yes, literally like the original is Singing in the Rain, but yeah,
I saw
literally
a
I was like, I
TikTok the
need
other
someone.
day, and it was like a girl, and the TikTok said, um, like when your understudy has to go on, but it's like dress rehearsals, and it's like she's behind the curtain, like singing along, and like the girl on stage is like lip syncing. That was very
I feel
that.
like I just saw that TikTok too, but no, like that was literally what I needed. But I literally like it was just wild because like I literally went and nothing came out. Like it was just like, and the audience was like, "What is happening?" But yeah, that was like a crazy story, and it also affects your joints too. Like my hamstrings would be tighter,
Mm.
my hips would be tighter, just based on like where we were, however, like cold or like altitude affected me a lot. So it was just a lot on the voice and body. And sometimes like I would have to give myself grace. Like even though I drink a lot of water, even though I was just getting sick more often than I would now, like living in New York City and just being in the same like place all the time. So yeah.
Wait,
Mm.
that exact thing literally happened to me when I was doing Millions in
Oh,
Atlanta.
really?
There's this like really high note. It was like gotta, and I just completely forgot how to sing in head voice. So I just went for it, and I just tried to like put it in my chest voice, and I basically I don't want to give an example because it would be very painful, but it was something. And then I came off stage, and then my child wrangler was there with a hot cup of water, and he was like, you need
He was
this.
like, I know you need
You
this.
need this.
Yeah, no, it's real, and it just like happens. Like, and that's the thing too. It's made me like respect other performers too. Like touring is 100%, in my opinion, as someone who's done both. Of course, it can, I guess, vary by person, but I believe touring is 100% harder than being on Broadway or being like off Broadway in one place. Like, and whenever I see my friends on tour, I'm like, I respect it so much because I'm like, I know
Mm.
how it is to literally feel like your voice is not working depending on like whatever state you're in due to the altitude or humidity or whatever. But yeah.
I also I think that like touring is such like an interesting concept, depending on your age. I've
Yeah.
been very lucky to like have even booked some tours and like not very unprofessional of me, but decline them because I just wasn't ready at the time. But for children, it's like such a different vibe than like maybe people in their 20s who are getting like free housing or free housing and like food when younger people I don't know, but was there like a city that stood out to you or an audience that you really loved?
Okay, city that stood out to me, surprisingly, I loved oh my God, wait, I got it mixed. Oh wait, no, where was it? I think it was like literally Lincoln, Nebraska. And everyone's like, Kiara, what is going on? Like, why did you like, but it was literally like a ghost town. Like, I could walk the streets and it felt like no one was there. It was the calmest place I've ever been. And it was like clear skies and beautiful, but really random. We spent like 1 week there and I was obsessed with it just because there was no one around. Like, and it
Mm.
was just so relaxing. I was like, I could move here and like literally like start a brand new life. You know, like those places that are just so quiet and like the opposite of New York, the opposite of anywhere
Mhm.
I've ever been. So I love that. It was like a nice, calm week. So that was my favorite city. Favorite audience, the Pantages in LA was like the craziest audiences we've had. Like, but I feel like they're known for being crazy, which is great. Like they
I
love
wanted
the
to
show.
see a show there at the Pantages when
Oh,
I was in
really?
LA, but I couldn't. I really like, do you know how Rachel Zegler and Ben Platt are doing the last 5 years, that concert?
Yes. Yes.
They did that concert right after I left LA, and I was like, ah. But oh my
No. Oh my
god,
God.
the Pantages is such a good theater, though. I've seen pictures; it looks great.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Very,
It's
very
so like
beautiful.
spacious and nice. And yeah, that was my favorite audience by far.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, was there like a specific performance or just like a moment that you think you'll never forget?
I think being in Schenectady, which was wild. That was like where like Schenectady, New York was our first stop, but also it was like literally just because it was like I think only like a 4 hour drive from the city. So that was like the easiest way to like get everybody up there. But I think it was just like after performing maybe like Power of Love. I mean, it felt surreal just to do the show and like, but I feel like rocking out to Power of Love and like, owning the role and knowing that it was going to be mine for a year. Like it was just the best feeling. And it was like knowing that all the work I had done like prior specifically at Carnegie and everything was like amounting to something. So I feel like that was like a surreal moment where I was like, wait, I'm in the real world now and I'm like succeeding at it and I can do this. It was like a very empowering moment for me.
Yeah.
That's a
Okay.
very fierce name. Schenectady. I don't know how to say it, but that's a very
Schenectady.
fun name.
Yeah, and it's funny because like every tour starts there, which I didn't know. Like not every single tour, but a lot of tours like to start there because it's just easy to get there from New York. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Schenectady. Period.
Schenectady.
Okay. Let's transition.
Okay.
Present
Moving
time.
on.
Heathers.
Yes.
So, okay, I think I know the answer to this question because of my little Broadway Works Instagram understudy slideshows. But can you break down the roles you are covering, and what that responsibility actually looks like day to day?
Okay, yes. So I play young Republicanette. Obviously, I cover Heather Duke, Veronica, and Heather Chandler, which a lot of people don't know I cover Heather Chandler. But anywho,
Debut?
yeah.
We need that soon. A debut.
Yes, I would love to play Heather Chandler. It's actually my favorite role to understudy. And I found that out literally like 2 weeks ago when I like fully performed it like as like nonstop. I was like, wait, Heather Chandler's the best role in this show. Anywho, yeah, like the responsibility basically, of course, is to know it and to be ready. But the thing is, I'm first cover Duke and then second cover Veronica because obviously we have Sarah who's our standby and then I'm next. With like the first, second, third, obviously Duke is kind of my main priority, then Veronica, then Chandler. But of course I know all three of them and as we know from like even Emma Benson playing her third cover, Mac, like people have gone on for their third covers. So, you never know now. Now I feel like even though I'm first, second, third, anything can happen. So I'm ready to go on for any of them at any time.
I want to see that so bad.
Me too.
Yeah.
I feel like a Kiara Veronica would be really good.
Yes.
Everyone keeps commenting that on my stuff, and I would love to. Like, I mean, literally, Veronica's like has been a dream role for me since I was 12 when it came out in 2014.
When you posted about your pudding, I was like, okay, hello, when is this happening? I was like, I thought it was.
Like, yeah, I got like everyone got fooled. Like I just was like posting about it, and everyone was like, okay, so this is happening next week or when? I'm like, not anytime, I guess.
Wait, but
scheduled.
technically next week, aren't you the first cover? Because Sarah. So, I mean,
Yes.
hope that Sarah's okay, but
Yes, no, everyone's
Listen.
been like, put that on your radar. I'm like, okay, but yeah.
Oh my God, right. Oh my God, okay. Yeah, wow. Okay, so what is your mental process of learning and then maintaining multiple tracks at once? Like, how do you keep everything clear and ready? Because I know that there were portions where you like did Duke for a little bit and then maybe for like a long period of time you didn't do her and then you came back to it one night. So like how do you deal with that and just get straight back into it?
Yeah, well, I think I've never understudied anybody before this. Like I've never had like understudies. So I kind of just went in blind and like rehearsed. Like I just knew what some people had told me was like Good Notes was really helpful, which is an app where you can basically like download the script. And I had 3 different scripts for each character, like along with my actual Republicanette. So I had 4 different scripts and I would only like, mark stuff in one script. So like one was like my Duke script, my Veronica script, and so on. So that helped me a lot to clarify things. But it also was like, I think the craziest thing that really reminded me, I was like, oh my gosh. Well, when I first went on fourth preview, that was like everyone was on high alert. Like every understudy was like, oh my god.
That
like,
was literally crazy.
that was
it was
crazy.
actually insane. I always explain to people it's like a nightmare where like let's say you guys had to do drag like right now. Like you would remember it somewhat, but I'm sure there'd be like some confusion or maybe like that's not a good comparison, but like when you have a dream that you do a show that you haven't done in 10 years, that's how it felt. Like it felt like I knew it, but I didn't quite know it because
We had an
also,
understudy on in drag on the second preview, very, very similar to you. But
yeah.
it was, I mean, it gave so much positive energy, but because previews are really hard, but
Right.
that I mean, people were freaking out when that was announced. That was crazy.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was just insane because they were changing like stuff to do with like my Young Republicanette track, and like we were changing choreography in the ensemble. So it was like I was focused on that and not really like focused on any of my understudies yet, just because we knew like let's just get through the week of previews, then we'll start like fully learning understudy stuff. And then we were like, just kidding, you're on now. But anywho, yeah, that kind of made me like fully learn it. So then after that preview, I was like, okay, I know Duke fully. So then I was able to focus on Veronica and Chandler. But as you were talking about with like going on like pretty much like every single day, then to not going on for like when I went back on, I had like uh, I want to say maybe a month and a half, maybe closer to 2 months of like a break from like playing Duke full time to then like
Hmm.
Jakara taking over me back in my regular track. But when she called out, it was like I had a real feeling of like, am I gonna remember it? And it's almost harder than I think a lot of other like regular understudies of like going on maybe every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. Was just like that I went on every single day, and then I like 2 months felt like 2 years, and I was like but I feel like
Yeah.
with Duke specifically, it's like just muscle memory, and it's like I have to force myself to go into like autopilot and soft focus, because even like when I was on this past Thursday, if I started to think, oh my god, what's the line, I'm like, obviously I know the line because I played Heather Duke over 100 times, like over 100 performances I played that role, so I'm like, I know what the next line is. But it's like I start to second guess sometimes
Oh my God, that
when
happens
like
all the time to me.
I yes, yeah, because it's like once you go into that, do I forget? Like it's just like then you get out of that autopilot, then you get out of like the like groove that you're in. So I have to like force myself to not do that. But yeah,
Oh, and
And
I forgot you had your whole principal run. So that
yeah,
was two. How long was that?
it was like 5.5 weeks. So
Wow.
yeah, it was really great, and like I felt like I don't. It was just such a meant to be moment because I felt like going from Jennifer Parker on tour, like I was like, oh, I want to do something like big next, and I'm wondering, like how Heather's will pan out. I wonder if I'll even be on for like any of these understudy roles, and to just play that for 5 weeks was such a meant to be moment and was so special for me. And like having so many people from the industry come and see me, and like so many people still even at the stage door like being like, I saw you as Heather Duke in July, or I saw you in September. Like it was so
hmm,
special. And I feel like it was so nice to have so much support. But yeah, I forget that I literally played it like 5 weeks straight, and now I'm just like back in my ensemble track. But it's just
yeah.
it was like a crazy sin of time. We all were like, what?
And
Yeah.
okay, I have a few things to say. One, I was thinking about this as you were speaking, and I think there is something that needs to be done about covers and stuff. Like, because people don't realize that covers aren't rehearsing until the show's open.
Right.
I don't know if there's like rehearsals before the podcast starts, whatever, but that was amazing. And then, what was I saying? What was the last thing you said?
Just about like how going on for 5 weeks was so special, and like I felt
Oh
like it was meant
yeah,
to be.
yeah. I think that there's also this like we've talked about it. We talked about it last week with Marty Louder, but a lot of people are getting those stints like Claire, I mean Hannah,
Yes, my friend Hannah
Hannah,
Tevitt right now. Yeah.
everyone is getting there, and I think that is really, really beautiful that everyone is getting their moments to do their runs.
Yeah. Also with
Yes.
Kelsey Kimmel in Hell's Kitchen,
Mm,
I I saw her play Jersey when Jessica Vosk was out, and I was so lucky to like see like an understudy. So it's just, yeah, like Remy said, it's just so great to see everybody get to have their moment.
Yeah, I
mm,
think like also being an understudy for the first time and like such a big show professionally, like it has been the biggest blessing, because now I always thought covers and swings are like the backbone of shows, but I know it now. Like I've lived it, I've seen it. Also like being with like Sid and Cecilia in a dressing room with them too, like and Emma, just our whole every single cover and like swing, like being able to see it firsthand how hard they work. Like I just love anyone getting recognized, because they seriously are like the backbone of an entire show. Like it's so impressive.
Yeah.
and I would assume that I mean Heather's has such a large fan base. I almost sometimes think maybe larger than New World stages. We used to have this problem with drag where like our stage door would be like too big. Like they'd be like, we haven't experienced this ever. Like
Yeah.
I remember like the first week of previews, we would come out and
For matinees, they didn't have like
I would be like a little
barriers.
bit of a, I would be
Oh
like a
no.
little diva, and I'd be like, I low-key think we need to put barriers up because a lady just tried to hug me and I felt very uncomfortable. But
You're
like
like,
they didn't have that before. And so yeah, I assume there was a very big fan base. Was there pressure stepping into roles that big for so long? Especially in a cast like yours with like names.
yeah, I mean, I felt so much pressure even like when we first started with like Lorna. Lorna's like a bit like I literally, if I can have a career like Lorna, if I can be like Lorna, like when I grow up, I'm like all these people. Same with Mackenzie, like people that I look up to so much. Like even just being in a show with them was so like I was so nervous for it. And same with like I feel like a lot of like iconic shows like Heather's, even like the Weston people, like I was scared of like the comparisons and also just it was just a lot. Like I felt like we had big shoes to fill, but I feel like Heather's, like the Heather's fans have come with so much love. And I feel like the cool thing is that so many covers have gone on and it's almost like Pokemon cards. Like they love like being
Collecting.
able to like collect
Yeah.
the like I saw Emma as not only
Mm.
Fleming, but I saw her as Martha and I saw Kiara as Duke and I saw, you know, like Cecilia as
Mm.
Mac or like things like that where it's like it's they really adore and love seeing everyone's different takes on the roles and like more than a comparison it's like cool that they can say they've seen each person in their own take.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's been so cool and also like everyone's so nice. Like Lorna's like a sister to me, Mackenzie's like a sister to me, and it's like it was so nice to work with these people that I've looked up to for so long and realize like they're just normal people like me and they're so supportive and so nice and like, you know. So yeah.
Yeah. And also, I before drag, I had never done a professional production before. So walking into it and knowing that I would be sharing the role, I was really nervous. Because there's a lot of comparison out there, and we were so lucky to have such a kind fan base that every single time both me and Remy walked out that stage door, everybody was just so kind and nice, and they were like, oh, I got to see Remy and now I got to see you, and like you said, so it's really great to have just such a supportive like stream of fans out there for
Yeah.
the show.
So cool.
Yeah. Okay. So, we love Heathers. We are going to move on a little bit just in general. So yeah. So looking across both Back to the Future and Heathers, how has that grown how has your confidence as a performer grown?
Oh my gosh. I think my confidence has grown just so immensely. Like I think that Back to the Future taught me way different lessons than Heather's did. I feel like in Back to the Future I was able to learn how to dance and kick and lay out and jump and leap and turn every single night and be able to like take care of my body. So I felt like that was really important. Same like vocally and like I feel like tour also just taught me so much about adulting and growing up and like going straight from college. I felt like that was so meant to be. But then now in Heather's, I feel like I've grown singing wise, like covering roles that hit different parts of my voice, while also being in the ensemble. Like I feel like vocally, like all my stamina has improved so much. I've just learned, I mean, covering has been such an incredible experience and now I know I can do it. Like now when I get asked, oh, could you understudy this one role? Like I've already understudied three huge roles in Heather. So I feel like I now really like have understood how to cover. And yeah, I just feel like so much of a more confident performer. I feel like I've been so lucky that like Back to the Future taught me so many different lessons than Heather's did. And I truly feel like I can tackle like so many different shows now.
Yeah. That's great.
Work.
Yeah.
Work. We had this swing in Drag the Musical, Kodiak Thompson, who at the beginning of our run covered like a bunch of people. But towards the end, they were just like, they'd ask, we'd be low on coverage. They'd be like, can you cover this role? They'd be like, yeah, by the end, I think they covered everyone, all the adults. Like, I mean,
That's wild.
There was this one role that he didn't even cover. 4 hours before the show, they were like, "Hey, we have a bit of a situation. Can you play this role?" And he just jumped into it, and he was amazing. It's
Yeah.
like literally, we were like just shocked about how like put together he seemed in that
prepared.
whole situation. So yeah.
I'm always so
Confidence is
inspired by
key.
people like that. Yeah. I like honestly so many times in my cast, like I've seen it happen, and it's like it's also like watching them has inspired me too. I'm like, I just feel that same like energy of like just jumping in, and like it's always so impressive when people can do that. Yeah.
So, nerves. We're gonna. How do you personally deal with nerves, and especially in those high pressure, short notice situations?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think like going on fourth preview, with literally what people don't realize is I would have never been that nervous. I found out, I think 40 minutes before the show started. Okay. I found out 40 minutes. So like if I had found out maybe even like an hour, I would have been more calm, but it was just like the like turning around of like like it was just so much. So I felt like that really like spiked my nervous system. And I think about like literally when the Heather's reveal had started, I was like, oh my God. But the biggest thing I learned from Carnegie is to breathe and relax. And of course, like, duh, like, that sounds like something that, like, you would know to do as a performer. But like, I feel like I've really learned how to hone in my nerves. And like, I am such a nervous performer, but I take pride in that because I always say nerves mean you care so freaking much about what you do. And if I were to not get nervous, then like, I feel like there would be a problem. Like, I'm like, as long as I keep getting nervous, that means that I really care
Mm.
about like my craft and making like the crowd, feel something and being able to tell story. But yeah, I just feel like you have to breathe. And I always tell myself like I imagine the highest notes like they are the lowest possible notes ever to sing, so then they
Mhm.
feel like normal, or like I don't know, just like little mind games like that. But it's like everything is so mental. It's so important to be able to like take hold of your mental psyche and like force your nervous system to calm down.
It's
So it's really
very
just
it,
breathing.
it's very ironic that one of the scenes in Heather's is you throwing up because I'm sure you
Yeah.
could have played into that on your first night.
Yeah.
And also I think that that moment where the doors open, I think that could be possibly one of the best entrances ever.
Oh yeah,
So sick.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
great.
Yes.
So looking back, what is something younger you would not believe that you've already accomplished?
Oh my gosh, I love questions like this. And I think about that all the time. Like, I don't know if you too have moments like that too, where you'll be on stage and you're like, what if like me even like 2 months ago could see this? Like they'd be so happy and they'd be like, what's the
I
context?
I've had that thought so many times when I did Star Search. There was like this 30-second like period where they were showing like a feature like on the thing, and there weren't any cameras on, and I like took a deep breath in and I like looked around and I was like, whoa, I can't believe I'm here right now in this moment. And I can't, and like you said, me 2 months ago wouldn't even believe that I'm doing this. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
No,
so
it's
honest.
so cool.
This is kind of like cringe, but honestly, like 2 months ago, before we started this podcast, I've been following Heather's since the cast announcement, and I'm like a very big like coverage nerd, and like I've always been like a fan of you, and like
Oh,
you
thank
going on, but I wouldn't even think we would interview you or like some of the people we have coming up. It's just like moments are crazy, or even like sometimes I feel like people ask stuff and it's like, what was like, we probably asked it, what was like the big moment where something, I think it can even be small, like seeing your face in a playbill or like seeing someone like repost your story who you don't know. Um, but yeah, cool.
Yeah, no, I literally was like, first of all, you were incredible on Star Search. I have to say that, like, literally gagged me to my core, like, so amazing. But also, you guys have to understand, like, when I got the DM being like, do you want to be on my, like, our podcast? I felt like, I was like, oh my gosh, I've made it. I've literally made it. Like, it's so exciting. Like, this podcast is just, I feel like, such an amazing concept. It's going to be huge. Like I literally like
Uh,
I can't wait to like have these like whenever one of us is on like the late night show with like Jimmy Fallon, like they'll be like, "You actually had a podcast episode where like I don't know, I just feel like this is going to be so big. Like people will replay this and be like, "Oh my gosh, remember when the three of them all did a pod?" Like I don't know. I just feel like this is going
work.
to be amazing. So just had to say that. But no, I was literally also thinking I was like, "Ugh, what is the moment? What is the moment?" I feel like there's two, but the main moment I'll say second. But the first one was literally just like the amount of times that I did Candy Store, but there were like if I could just even like while I was on tour and Back to the Future, like see myself with specifically Mackenzie and Elizabeth, like those were the people that I did like over 100 shows as Heather Duke with and things like that. Like that moment where we would stick the landing, we'd be like, oh, and like the crowd would be like literally like moments like that where you can literally feel, and I mean you guys performed on that stage, you know, like how close the audience is, you can feel the vibrations of their screaming, and like it's just that's why theater is just so one of a kind and incredible, is like literally just feeling the energy of people like raising their voice because they love something so much. Like it's just such a blessing and so cool to like be able to give that to audiences. But the main one that made me be like, oh my gosh, is that there was a girl who had performed jazz dance at a dance competition to Never Shut Up, like the version, the Weston version. I guess that's the only version, but that girl, whoever
Mm.
sings on there, is so fierce. I don't know her name. LaChance, Chauncey? I don't know. But I don't know. It's like, it starts with an S or something. But the original woman, fierce. Anyways, but there was a girl who like apparently she inspired her whole like dance based off of me. She was like, I love how when Kiara goes on for Heather Duke, she's like kicking and leaping and turning, and like she basically used me as inspiration for her year-long like dance competition solo to Never Shut Up Again. Her teacher was like, yeah, we would like study the bootlegs of you and like everything, and like we would use you as inspiration. And like she obviously like she won one of her dance competitions and was like, oh my gosh, I just wanted to thank you because you're a part of this win. And like the fact that, you know, people would be so inspired or moved or like my performance as Heather Duke or anyone to like base their year-long dance competition solo off of it is like wild and like so incredible. And it shows, I don't know, I just feel like my younger self would be like, whoa, what?
Mm.
I love stories like that. Oh my god. When you said about seeing the DM of the podcast, that was that made me feel so happy. Yeah, it's just crazy that we're all here. We've all been so busy lately, so I'm so happy that we could all be here. But
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, that just like made me like a little bit like emotional. Like before I was like tearing up a little bit.
No, it's really gonna be huge, and like I just believe in this podcast so much. Like I was so honored, and I am honored to be here today. Like so special.
Thank
Very,
you.
very sweet.
Yeah.
Well, final question. And then we're going to do like a
Okay.
rapid question. So,
Okay.
right now, in this moment of your life and career, how do you define success for yourself in the future?
I feel like will define success as just being able to wake up and perform like every single day, and like as rigorous as an 8 show week or a 8 show week schedule is, like to be able to have the honor and the privilege of delivering 8 shows a week to
Hmm.
audiences, like that's all I want to do. Like I just want to wake up and know that my job is to get on a stage every night and tell a story. I
Yeah.
don't really care where it is. I don't really care how much money I make. It literally is just being able to like get on stage and tell a story every single day. Like that is just success for me. Like that will
Yeah.
always be the definition.
I mean, I didn't perform 8 days a week, 8 shows a week every day. There
Mm-hmm.
would be some weeks though where like maybe one of us would call out a few times and it would make up 8 shows a week. And maybe because I wasn't doing that every week, I would feel like, oh, that was not my best performance. But there was a part of it that was like the success in itself is just you doing that 8 times a week. Like that is such a super talent. No matter how good the performance is, I mean, obviously people are expecting a certain level, but even just doing that 8 times a week, any show is so impressive.
Yeah, no, I love that you mentioned that. Like that's what I have to remind myself of. And like even Kate Rockwell tells me that. Like she told me one day,
Mm.
if you make 80% of the notes, That is so impressive. If you doing 8 shows a week, singing hard songs every single day, you make 80% of the notes. Like that's all that matters. And also, like what I learned in school was if you can only give 60 out of 100%, give 100% of your 60% and you got it. Like that's all that
That is,
matters. It's if you, yeah.
I was
Totally.
gonna say that exact thing back to Kodiak Thompson. He's gonna be so featured in this, but he
Shout
told me
out.
one time, he was like, maybe it was like, I don't know. I had school that morning. Maybe I was like yelling or something, but I wasn't feeling my best. And I was waiting to go on. And I think you could probably tell, but he was like, even if this performance is 70%, do 70%. Like, not every performance is going to be. I went into drag thinking like every performance should be 100%.
I no,
It's
I literally
not.
was like, I'm never gonna call out ever. I'm gonna be every single
Me
performance
too.
unless I am in the hospital. I am never calling out. And I was
Yes.
like, never mind.
Yes. And it doesn't have to be 100%, but like you said, if you're giving 100% of your percent you can give that day, it's already perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so it's almost bedtime. Let's do some quick rapid fire questions. Okay.
Okay.
So let's start. Favorite role you've ever played?
Anna Maria and Godspell.
Mm, work. Dream role you haven't played yet. It can be in like a bunch of years or not.
Peggy Mariah in Hamilton.
Ooh, that's really good.
Favorite Broadway show of all time?
Aida.
Go to pre-show snack.
Oh my gosh, Skinny Pop.
Warm up ritual or superstition?
Oh my gosh, I always have to pray before.
Work. Favorite song to perform live?
Probably Easy as Life from Aida.
Hardest role you have ever had to understudy?
Veronica.
I did that one. One word to describe your Heather's experience, your Back to the Future experience, and your regional theater experience.
Whirlwind.
Period.
And our final question for you is classic. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Probably either like originating or reviving a really iconic role where I'm like dancing, singing, and acting and like triple threading it on a Broadway stage.
Period.
Work.
Well, thank you so much. This has been so amazing. We are so grateful to have you on here. Yeah, and do you have a show tonight?
I do. It's our last show of the week, so I'm really
Such a
gonna
weird
pack the
schedule
punch.
off Broadway.
It is. It's weird, but also like tonight is like my favorite nights because it's like, we're probably one of the only shows that's like on because Broadway's
So
off today.
other
So it's
shows
always
get to see it.
Yes.
That was my favorite. Sorry, that was my favorite part about the New World Stages schedule because I got to see Broadway shows on my night off.
Right? It works out so well, yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Wow.
us literally finishing at 5:15, and that's like what I have in my calendar. But
We're right on time, okay?
Right on time. We gotta go to bed, you guys.
what time's your show? 7?
Oh, and guys, whoever's watching this, P.S. We are filming this on a Monday. So the day that you're seeing this, that is published, it is a Tuesday. So today's a Monday. That's why we are celebrating. Well, thank you so much.
Period. New World Stages.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. Yes, New World Stages, period.
Break a leg tonight.
I seriously think, sorry to like keep going, but I seriously think that New World Stages is like the spot. I think off-Broadway is the new Broadway, and I think I'm so excited to see what comes from that.
No,
I mean,
yeah,
even Spelling
it's a
Bee,
weird,
Heather's,
like,
drag, it's
yeah.
so good.
It's so interesting, yeah. Like off-Broadway is where like the new coolest shows are happening. I really do believe that it's different than it's ever been. I'm so excited to see like how it pans out. Maybe we'll look back in a year and be like, oh my God, off-Broadway has been like ever since we said that. It's been, I don't know. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Break a leg tonight.
break a leg.
Thank you. I had
Thank
so much fun,
you.
y'all.
Good night.
Good night.
Good
Bye.
night, everybody. Bye.
Broadway Before Bedtime.
With Pierre and Remy.